Hey guys, Dantix here. So I just finished the new XCOM Chimera Squad and I'm happy to say that it's a lot of fun. I would have gladly paid full price, but this title is only $9.99 for a short time, and at that price, you'd be mad not to pick it up. That being said, there are some things I wish I knew before starting XCOM which would have improved my experience. So in this video, I run through 10 things you need to know before starting XCOM Chimera Squad. Before we start, if you want to win yourself a copy of the game, just follow me on Instagram and Twitter and leave a comment down below with what you're most looking forward to in the game. So, let's get started. Number 1, understanding what difficulty you should set for yourself. This is a choice you need to make at the start that can impact your whole experience. There are 4 difficulty settings along with some different modifiers. The easiest difficulty setting is story, and I highly recommend against selecting it. If you're new to the series, stick to normal. I played on normal difficulty the first time around and I didn't lose a single encounter. Your squad is meant to feel a bit more powerful in this game as you're using named heroes, but in story, you'll just get bored. It's just too easy. If you're an XCOM veteran, I would highly recommend starting on Expert. Iron Man mode makes it so you only have one save, so the choices you make are permanent. You won't be able to load a previous save to change things, and I find this to be the best way to play XCOM. This iteration lasts roughly 22 hours if you don't face much challenge, and you're encouraged to replay in order to try different approaches, so remove the save scumming temptation with Iron Man mode. Then there's Hardcore. This makes it so that any mission loss results in the game being over and you need to restart. I would recommend against playing this way until you've beaten the game once, unless you're playing on story difficulty. Then we have Extended City Anarchy. This simply makes it easier to not game over by neglecting unrest in your districts. Leave this setting alone unless you're struggling at higher difficulties and don't want to worry as much about that mechanic. Then we have how much you'll heal between encounters. Some missions can have up to 3, or in the case of the final mission, more encounters. After clearing an area, you move into the next. Half heal is the default, and I recommend sticking with this. It simulates how you could heal up a little bit before entering the next area of XCOM 2. If you want a greater challenge, put on no heal. If you want less, put on full heal. So the hardest challenge would be an impossible Iron Man hardcore no heal run. So best of luck to you lunatics. Number 2, you can't recruit all the agents available. You start with Godmother, Terminal, Cherub, and Verge and can recruit 4 more for a total of 8 agents in one playthrough. There are 11 total, so you'll need to choose who you leave out of your run. There are a lot of synergies between agents, so check out my character breakdown video for more. I recommend picking up Blue Blood. If you equip him with an epic pistol, he's going to be your main damage dealer and the closest thing you have to a gunslinger or sniper. When fully promoted to Principal Agent, I found him invaluable as he would clear out rooms almost solo. A great pickup is also Patchwork. You'll be facing a lot of mechs during a third of the game and the end mission, and she can straight up turn them onto your side without any promotions on her part, which is devastating to your enemies. She also gets a guaranteed 4 damage with her drone at any range, so she can pick off targets others can't get to. A fully upgraded Patchwork with Storm Generator devastates whole rooms of enemies with electricity. You can't really go wrong with any of the choices as they'll always synergize with at least one of the 4 you start with, but these 2 really stood out to me. Number 3, out of all the resources, Intel is the most valuable. You need it to buy and upgrade field teams, which not only provide you income, but reduce unrest in the districts they're in. Reaching milestones with them provide your field team abilities. The first 2, Vigilance and Quarantine, make it easier to control city anarchy and should be aimed for as soon as possible. Then after that point, always have around 130 intel banked, as occasionally the scavenger market will open up and the currency you use to buy their rare items is intel. Epic weapons are also here, and you want enough to purchase them right away as they provide some game-changing skills to the agent who equips them. Credits are only used for buying items at the supply, but at the start there really won't be much that's worth buying. So bank credits until you research things that are worth your time, like weapon and armor upgrades. You can also prioritize side missions that give you items and avoid having to purchase equipables at all. You can gain intel from missions, investigations, the legwork spec op mission, and capturing targets alive, so try to do all of these when you can. Number 4. Breaching is a new feature in the franchise, and it's a welcome one. You lead a team of highly trained agents, so it's natural you'll be getting the jump on your enemies. Before every encounter, and like mentioned, there may be multiple in a mission, you have to choose your entry points, which will in turn provide bonuses and a turn order. So how do you make the most of breaching? First, understand your targets. The ones in red are aggressive and will attack after you finish shooting. You want to, most of the time, prioritize taking them down to avoid taking unnecessary damage. It's better to clear out 1 or 2 aggressive targets than damage 3 or 4. Early on you won't have too much trouble doing this, but when there are quite a lot of aggressive targets, Cherub's Phalanx ability will make sure your team takes no hits. Side effect is Cherub gets quite a few charges, boosting his melee damage. If you can help it though, avoid bringing him, as there are better agents. It's almost never worth rushing for cover unless the agent rushing is heavily damaged. Also, keep an eye on your entry bonuses. If you have bonus to stun, it doesn't stun for their whole turn, it just stops them taking retaliatory shots. So spread out the damage if it will prevent it, but still prioritize taking out targets. If an entry point will provide Overwatch after breach, make sure to have the agents you want to act last here. Your first agent will never get use out of Overwatch, as they will act first. Number 5. Speaking of Overwatch, it's not as useful as it was in other XCOM titles. This time around it's directional, and it's usually better to spend an action shooting or using abilities to prevent your opponents from taking a turn. Since all the battles will be in relative close quarters, you'll notice all your agents have far better accuracy than they did in XCOM 2. Combine that with the new initiative turn-based order, and it's simply better to strategically pick off targets whose turns are coming up next. Even if that means pulling your agent out of cover to get right next to an enemy taking their turn next, ensuring you finish them off. Cover is not as valuable in this iteration because you're encouraged to tactically eliminate the right targets and combo the right abilities. So if you're going first, eliminate the enemy going second if you can, so third, your agent, will be next and you can focus on the fourth, the enemy. It doesn't always work this perfectly, but knowing you can't take out a target whose turn is next might mean you focus on the one going after them, or you can use your team up ability to pull an agent that was going last to right after the agent they teamed up with, letting you turn the tides or pile the damage on a key target. You can only use this once a mission, so I would save it and your big single mission only abilities until the final encounter in the series. This includes consumables like grenades, unless of course you stumble into a juicy situation. Number 6, you no longer need to let your agents rest. That's right, if they get injured in battle, they won't need downtime to recover from their wounds like they did in XCOM 2. You don't have wave after wave of men at your disposal. So if you find an agent you like using, you can use them every mission. Just make sure you don't let them get downed. A downed agent will develop a scar, which lowers a key stat like dodge. To recover from a scar, you simply need to take them to the training facility. It will take 2 days to train it away. What this all says is that you can be a bit more Rambo with your team than ever before. They have more health, so getting hit isn't going to put you in a terrible position with the next mission. Sometimes it's just strategically viable to send an agent out to absorb fire. If you're an XCOM veteran, this may take some time to get used to, but new players will have no trouble. It doesn't mean the game is less strategic because of this, it just means the way you win requires different strategy, and avoiding all damage is impossible in some situations. Sitting around behind cover isn't going to cut it anymore. Number 7, you can play the whole game non-lethally. You gain the ability to melee attack enemies fairly early, and it will knock them unconscious if landing the finishing blow. You also unlock tranquilizer rounds early on too, which means you can use your guns to knock out your enemies. Some agents will have ways to non-lethally take enemies out, like Cherub with his shield bash or Verge with his collar ability. Playing this way will be a bit harder, but it will net you a lot of intel, like mentioned before. After all, you can't get intel from corpses. Number 8. Early on you unlock the ability to build androids. Just don't bother researching anything more than this. As if you're playing right, you'll never have use for them. They only come into play if a squad member is downed, then stabilized, you finish the encounter, and there's another after it. They have no abilities and only serve to provide an extra gun and body to absorb hits. You're better off researching higher tech armor for your squad. Number 9. Speaking of research, prioritize better armor as soon as you can. This will mean more slots to carry consumables, and the extra armor will keep your buddies safe. When it comes to weapons, you'll have to research upgrades for each weapon type, which will take a bit longer. There's research for pistols, shotguns, SMGs, and assault rifles. Therefore, try to build a team that uses the same weapon type so you can focus on just those. Godmother, Axum, and Claymore use shotguns for example, so having them on your team will triple the benefit of upgrading your shotguns. Don't forget, you can put idle agents in the assembly to speed up any research. Masterwork quality weapons will shred armor, so keep that in mind if you don't have a lot of agents equipped with grenades. Number 10. Finally, when you have enough squad mates, you should consider upgrading your training facility, as when your agents rank up, there'll be new training to further improve them permanently. First, there'll be the training to unlock their potential, then another at Special Agent rank, and the final at Principal Agent rank. Principal Agent training always being a powerful ability for the individual, like the aforementioned Patchwork gaining the ability to chain electricity from extreme distances. With 2 training slots in the facility, you'll get more done quicker, which means your favorite agent's back in action sooner. It's good to be able to train many at once. So that's all I have for you today. Thanks for watching. Are you excited to play some more XCOM? Let me know below. Also be sure to do the standard YouTube stuff and follow my socials. I'll be back soon with more XCOM Chimera Squad. Ciao friends.